Hello and welcome to Stories of Science. Here, we look back on humanity's long journey to understand the world. The questions, the failures, and the breakthroughs that slowly changed how we see the universe and ourselves. We tell science as stories. The scientist who taught the immune system to fight cancer. Cancer is humanity's smartest enemy. It doesn't break in from the outside. It grows from within. And here's the creepy part: your immune system sees it, but chooses not to act, not because it can't fight, because it doesn't want to. It's like a security guard at the door sees someone suspicious, but says, they're one of us, and lets them pass. Cancer cells are that one of us. They disguise themselves perfectly. So they grow, spread, take over. Pause. But some people refuse to accept that ending. Tajiko Honjo, a Japanese scientist, he stared at this problem for years, and then did something simple, almost absurdly simple. He decided to take the brakes off the immune system. Sounds like tinkering with a bike, but what he touched was one of the most complex systems in existence, the human body. Even crazier, at first, no one believed him. His experiments seemed pointless. No groundbreaking results. No shocking data, not even failure, really. And in science, the scariest thing isn't failure. It's nothing happening. It's like pressing a button, and the world just stares at you, awkward, frustrating, desperate. Many would quit there. He didn't. Decades later, that pointless discovery saved countless lives, rewrote medicine. So, what did he discover? A protein. And why would a single protein change everything we know about cancer? The story begins with fire. 1945. Kyoto. The sky wasn't blue. It was burning. Bombs fell, houses ignited, the air scorched. A 3-year-old boy, clutched by his mother, ran not for convenience, for survival. Fire chased them. She dove into a ditch, pressed the boy into water, fire all around, mud underfoot. This boy was Tajiko Honjo. He hadn't learned to walk through life yet. First, he learned to survive. Such experiences shape a person, not immediately, slowly, quietly. Post-war Japan was a mess, but his family was relatively stable. His father a surgeon, every day, knives, blood, life and death. So his expectations were simple: excel, be reliable, don't make mistakes. Sounds like 3 words, actually, they were 3 mountains. His mother balanced it out: gentle, patient, calm. A buffer. Where his father set the bar to impossible heights, his mother would quietly say, take your time. Father equals pressure, mother equals release valve. Handled poorly, it breaks you. Handled well, it makes you strong. If you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Answers are usually big: astronaut, scientist, world saver. Young Honjo wasn't different, but his dream was a little more specific. He wanted to study the universe. Not a joke. He really wanted to study stars. Japan, just recovering from war, had a few luxuries. Few toys, but one thing costs nothing: the sky. Night fell, a few lights, stars everywhere. He pointed his telescope upward, and froze. Saturn. A planet with rings, silent, distant, elegant, unreal. He was captivated, not curious. Controlled. He read everything: astronomy, planetary motion, cosmic structure. The more he learned, the deeper he fell. The universe has a special charm. It doesn't care who you are. It just is: silent, massive, indifferent. For a child, that indifference is oddly comforting, because reality is noisy, full of expectations, standards, pressure. The universe doesn't care about your grades. Doesn't scold you for not being excellent. It just exists. He was convinced: I will study the universe. Serious. Not a passing thought. He imagined discovering new celestial bodies, unraveling cosmic secrets. Romantic, right, but life never runs on a romantic script. Then came a sudden twist. He read a book, not about space, not about stars, about a person, Hideo Noguchi. A scientist. No privileged background, childhood injuries, family poor, yet he did one thing: studied bacteria. Sounds boring. No stars, no cosmos, just microscopes, invisible worlds. The story quietly captivated him. No fireworks, no grandeur, just power, palpable and near. Bacteria make people sick. Science can find the cause and change the outcome. In that moment, Hanjo realized the universe is far. Diseases close stars won't change if you understand them, but humans will. It wasn't about knowledge. It was about impact. He wavered, not giving up on the universe, but questioning what matters more? Reality check, father, surgeon, daily life, patients, not theories. Real people. Painful. Scared. Mortal. Science here equals a tool. To change outcomes. The book's influence grew, slowly. No explosion. No epiphany, just a quiet shift. Like a ship gently turning at sea, the course changes. Eventually, a whole new path. He made a choice, medicine. Not for convenience, not to please his father, because the problems were real. Irony? He moved from the vastness of space to the complexity of the human body. Seems like a downgrade, actually harder. The universe? Simple rules. Gravity. Orbits. Motion. The human body? Chaos. Complexity. Unpredictable, especially the immune system. Like a team of moody security guards, sometimes they attack everyone, sometimes no one. Totally on a whim. Years later, he would say, the human body is far more complex than the universe. Light words, heavy meaning from gazing at stars, to peering into cells, from distant cosmos, to the inner universe. And it all started simply a book. No fanfare. No ceremony, just one person, at one time, turning one page. Life-changing choices don't always need grandeur, just a trigger. A story. A moment of resonance, then your path shifts entirely. After deciding to study medicine, things didn't suddenly get easier. In fact, they got harder. It's the early 1960s. Tajiko Hanjo walks into medical school. Most people think this is the start of a dream for him. It felt more like a test of endurance. The first day was fine, the second day, manageable. By the third week, problems started piling up. Anatomy, Latin terms. A mountain of names for structures. Memorize. Recite. Write. Repeat. It's like memorizing a phone book with no plot. He realized something fast. This wasn't the kind of science he wanted, not exploration. Storage, not thinking. Copying. He grew restless, not because it was hard, because it was boring. And Hanjo wasn't just smart, he was allergic to boredom. For an ordinary student, that's a minor hiccup. For a future scientist, it's a ticking time bomb. He started questioning everything of the lectures, the study methods, even the profession itself. If medicine is just this, did I pick the wrong path? The thought circled in his head, round and round. No stopping. But he didn't quit outright. Instead, he made a riskier move. He started skipping class, not shirking responsibility, selective disappearance. While others were cramming, he slipped quietly into a different world, the lab. A place where there were no right answers. No one telling you, memorize this page. Not even a guarantee you'd succeed. At first, it was disorienting. No roadmap. No instructions, just problems. One after another. But soon, he discovered something the classroom never offered: freedom, the freedom to question, to fail, to take detours, even waste time. Every step was his own, not copying answers, but seeking new ones. And suddenly, it clicked. It wasn't medicine he disliked. It was the way it was taught. He started truly learning, and not for exams, for understanding. For the first time, he faced real scientific questions, and not in textbooks, questions with no answers. Quiet, but magnetic. You don't know the answer, but you know it's worth asking. He dove into time faded. Day. Night. Doesn't matter. As long as the experiment moved forward, he kept going. No one pushed. No one blocked. This state is addictive. Slowly, he grasped a truth: science isn't about accumulating knowledge. It's about constantly asking better questions. Answers? Temporary questions? Core. One day, he paused, looked back at the impatient student he once was, the one bored by medicine. It wasn't him. He just hadn't found the entrance. Now, he had. For the first time, he felt that science could be uncertain, unstable, even messy. And that's exactly why it mattered. In that moment, he wasn't just a medical student. He was becoming a researcher. The lab gave him freedom, but freedom has an upgrade: the world. It's the 1970s. Hanjo makes a choice: leave Japan. Go to America. The reason? Simple: I want to see how others play with science. First stop, the National Institutes of Health, NIH sounds serious inside? Even more serious, and a little wild. The pace was different, fewer rules on how to do things, more focus on, what do you think should be done? Questions weren't just asked, they were amplified, debates stretched across the lab. An experiment could be challenged by 10 people, and no one saw it as attack. In fact, that's how you knew people were serious. At first, he was out of his comfort zone. In Japan, the teacher's word was law. Here, the teacher's word was just a starting point, the real lesson was in the debate. He learned something vital: science isn't quiet. It's noisy, and the louder the noise, the closer you get to the truth. Next stop, Carnegie Institution for Science, even more extreme of freedom dialed to maximum. No supervision, no deadlines, the only question, can you find your own direction? For many, this is a nightmare. For him, heaven. He was already trained to ask questions, not wait for answers. Years passed, his perspective expanded, not just Japanese medicine, global science. He realized real competition wasn't within a country. It was worldwide. And science speaks only one language: results. You produce them, you're recognized, you don't. No amount of effort matters. Simple, brutal, fair. The 1980s. He returns to Japan. Many expected him to be more Japanese, calmer, conservative, traditional. Instead, he brought back a new energy: direct, bold, unafraid of mistakes. He taught at Osaka University, then Kyoto University. Students quickly noticed this teacher was different. Others gave answers. He gave questions, and not just any questions. I'm not sure of the answer either. At first, students panicked: is this teacher reliable? He seems less sure than us. Slowly, they realized it's not uncertainty. It's a higher form of certainty. The world itself is uncertain. Japanese science noticed, some found him refreshing, some dangerous. Rules weren't his strong suit. But his style spoke louder than titles: this person is different. While people observed, he quietly ventured into a new domain: the immune system. A system so complex it makes the human body feel like chaos. Every day, it decides which cells are friend, which are foe. Make a mistake, and consequences are deadly: attack yourself, or let the enemy in. Sounds like society, doesn't it? But here, no laws, only molecules. He studied antibodies, molecules that recognize foreign invaders. Problem: how can antibodies recognize so many things? When genes are limited, it doesn't add up. So he dug, piece by piece, slowly getting closer. He studied key molecules: IL-4, IL-5. Obscure? Yes, important? Absolutely. They control immune reactions, decide when to attack, decide when to hold back. Each study, quiet. No headlines, no applause. Few noticed. But these were foundations, layer by layer. Problem: no one cheers for foundations, everyone looks at the building. So here's a harsh truth: his papers multiplied. Quality rose of fame? Didn't explode. He wasn't yet the world changer. Once, someone asked, your research is important, but why isn't it making waves? A piercing question, but honest. He didn't complain. He kept going. Because science doesn't give applause at every step. Sometimes, you're just paving the road, not reaching the destination. To put it bluntly, the scientific world is pragmatic. No world-changing results. You're just another prolific author. Harsh, but it forces breakthroughs. And he kept going, asking questions, working on those unimportant studies. He didn't know it yet, but these quiet efforts were converging towards a point that would change everything. At that moment, no one could see it. It's the early 1990s. By now, he'd spent decades in research, plenty of papers, solid results, but nothing earth-shattering yet. Then, in 1992, a tiny discovery appeared. A little protein with a plain name, PD1. Sounds like a catalog number, doesn't it? Because that's basically what it was. At first, it was simple: a protein on the surface of cells, stable, present. But what did it do? No clue, completely blank. And in science, this is not unusual. You find something, but its function? Total mystery. It's like picking up a beautiful key on the street, but not knowing which door it opens. Hanjo didn't give up. He decided to chase it. To see which lock that key belonged to. The experiments started the standard approach: mouse models, knock out the gene. In simple terms, remove the protein from the system and see what happens. What do most scientists expect? Some change. Big change: immune system collapses, or goes berserk. Anything, really. Signs of life. The result: nothing. Yep. Nothing happened. The mice ate, slept, lived. As if nothing had changed. For a moment, the lab went quiet, awkward quiet. Because this meant one thing: maybe the protein did nothing. And in science, the scariest thing isn't failure. Failure at least proves you walked the path. The scariest? Nothing happens. It's like cooking a feast, and no one notices, not that it tastes bad, just invisible. The team started doubting, should they continue? Time was limited. Resources too. Most would quit, but Hanjo didn't. Not because he had a hunch, but because he was used to asking questions. If nothing happens in the short term, what about the long term? So they kept observing. Months. A year. Slowly, something shifted. Some mice developed strange symptoms. Their immune systems became overactive, not attacking invaders, but themselves. Autoimmune disease, inflammation, tissue damage. Not good, but in research, this is a signal. A very important signal. Hanjo started to see PD-1 differently. It wasn't an accelerator, not a gas pedal. It was the brake. When the immune system gets too excited, PD-1 says, hey, chill out. Without it, the system spirals out of control. Makes sense, and it's dangerous. Because that means the body has a built-in mechanism to stop the immune system from going overboard. And then the thought came, bold. A little crazy. If the problem is too much braking, what if the solution is, cut the brake? Let the immune system run free, attack cancer cells with full force. Dangerous idea, because you're not just strengthening the system. You're removing restrictions. It could kill cancer, or kill yourself. But he kept thinking step by step. If this process could be controlled, if brakes were removed only under certain conditions, could it open a new path? Not by killing cancer directly, but by letting the body do it itself. At the time, this was unorthodox, even heretical. Mainstream medicine was surgery, chemo, radiation, destroy cancer. And he was saying, don't touch the cancer. Go for the immune system. It's like a fire breaks out in your house. Everyone grabs water. He says, let's upgrade the fire alarm first. Makes sense, logically, but people weren't ready for it. Skepticism came, peers, reviewers, investors. Many thought it was idealistic, unstable, dangerous. Some companies dropped out, too risky. No short-term payoff. And there he was, a data building, theory forming, support? Sparse. It felt like seeing a bridge in the fog. He knew it was there, but others didn't. Some advised him change direction. Do something safer. Don't waste your life on one protein. Reasonable advice. Realistic. But he'd seen a glimpse, not the full picture, but enough to keep going. At this stage, one saying fits perfectly: when everyone says you're wrong, either you are, or you're on the verge of being right. The difference? Time. He chose to wait. Years passed, the cut the brake idea lingered, but proof? Not yet. Until clinical trials, the real battlefield, not mice. Humans. The first patients, melanoma. A brutal cancer, limited treatments, many had almost no options. Someone decided to try a completely new approach, not killing cancer directly, but lifting the immune brakes. Elegant in theory, terrifying in practice. No guarantees. Patients began treatment, doctors watched, researchers waited, time ticked. Then, strange things happened. Tumors shrank, not briefly, sustained. For months. Years. Even longer. Unusual at the time. Most treatments give short-term effects to this, like rebooting the system. Long-term. Stable. The realization: cancer wasn't killed by force. It was allowed to be killed. Subtle difference. Massive significance. You weren't fighting for the body, you were giving it the weapons, letting it fight itself. Once this logic held, the medical world had to rethink everything. Soon, a name emerged: immune checkpoint blockade therapy. The core. That break: first drug, nivolumab, then pembrolizumab. Complicated names. Simple action: partially turn off PD-1. Let the immune system be bolder. Results expanded, not just melanoma, lung cancer, kidney cancer. Responses started appearing. Not every patient, but those who did? Astonishing. And people began saying this isn't a new drug. It's a new logic. From direct attack, indirect unleashing, from external intervention, internal activation. Like not repairing a broken machine, but rebooting its operating system. Medicine changed. The world started taking notice. Fast forward, 2018. A phone call, everything changed. The Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, awarded to Tejiko Honjo and James Allison. What did they do? Found a mechanism, had an idea, stuck with it for decades. No explosion, no applause, we even overlooked at times. But finally, recognized. One sentence sums it up: one protein, point one idea, point one Nobel Prize. Simple words, but decades of experiments where nothing happened, countless moments of near giving up. Now, the impact grows. First, treatments, cancer therapies were threefold: surgery, chemo, radiation. Now, there's a fourth: immunotherapy. Not a replacement. An equal, sometimes even preferred. Meaning, human understanding of cancer shifted. It's not just the enemy. It's a system we can manage. Patients' fates changed. Late-stage cancer wasn't always a death sentence. Some could survive long-term, even with tumors. Cancer can coexist like a chronic disease, not perfect, but a massive leap. Industry followed: effective therapy, market boom with drug development, clinical trials, global expansion. A multi-billion-dollar field was born. Funny contrast: at first, no one invested. Too uncertain. Now, everyone jumps in, afraid to miss out. Reality checks: scientists changed the world, capital changes valuation. A bit darkly funny, but true. And behind it all, that once useless protein, now a path that reshapes human destiny, from one protein to changing the course of life itself. But the story doesn't end here. In fact, you could say it's only just beginning. Because what was truly being changed wasn't just how we treat disease. It was how we understand the immune system itself. For years, we pictured it simply: enemies appear, attack. No enemies, rest, like a very obedient soldier. Turns out, it's nothing like that. The immune system behaves more like a complicated, moody commander. It hesitates. It judges. It makes mistakes. Sometimes it's too aggressive, sometimes it's too cautious. The big question is, who's really in control? The answer slowly became clear. It's not just a simple on-off switch. It's an entire network of regulators. Molecules like PD1, they're the keynodes. Think of it as a finely tuned brake system, designed to keep the system from spiraling out of control. And this is crucial, because without brakes, the immune system does something very dangerous: it attacks itself. Autoimmune diseases, joints, skin, organs. Your body treats itself like the enemy. Sounds crazy, right? But it happens. And now we start to understand the problem isn't that the immune system attacks too much. It's that the brakes fail. Or the regulation goes wrong. Which opens a whole new line of thinking. If we can control the brakes precisely, could we prevent overreaction and still let the system target real threats? It's like driving: you don't slam the accelerator, you don't stomp the brake, you control the rhythm. The immune system works the same way. Here's the kicker: research started showing something even more interesting. The immune system isn't just fighting disease. It's interacting with another group of residents, microbes. Your body is crawling with bacteria, gut, skin, everywhere. They aren't enemies most of the time, they're partners. But it's a delicate balance. So once disturbed, the immune system jumps in, sometimes too aggressively. And now, studies are connecting the dots: immune response, inflammation, microbes, even mood. You realize it's not just a system. It's an ecosystem. And Honjo's discovery: it's like finding a single, critical control line in that ecosystem, pull it gently, and the whole system shifts. This isn't about one drug anymore. It's a way of understanding the world. And here's the deeper layer: not biology, philosophy. Look back, and it's strange how the discovery that changed the world at first looked ordinary, even useless. One protein. No function, knock it out, and nothing happens, all the hallmarks of failure. If he had given up, nothing would exist. No therapy, no breakthrough, nothing. So, what counts as an important discovery? something that shocks the world immediately, or something invisible at first? History is clear, many great discoveries started quietly. No applause, no audience. Like seeds, buried in the soil, you can't see them, but they're growing. The real question: do you have the patience to wait? Science is often like this, not a straight line. A long wait, full of uncertainty, full of maybe this is useless. But the real breakthroughs hide inside those maybes. And this is why true scientists differ from most people. They endure, not pain, but no results. Hanjo was that person. He didn't see the finish line at first. He saw a problem, and he kept walking, even into the fog. Now, let's return to the first question: cancer. What is it? Not a foreign virus, not invading bacteria. It's part of your own body. And that's the hardest part: you can't just destroy it, because destroying it means destroying yourself. What Hanjo did was subtle. He didn't make a super weapon. He didn't design a precision missile. He did something else. He lifted the restrictions, or released the body's own suppressed power, let the system judge, act, by itself. Sounds restrained, but also powerful. He didn't fight for the body. He helped it regain the ability to fight. So, in a way, he didn't directly defeat cancer. He didn't stand on the front lines. He didn't pull the trigger. He simply unlocked the door and let the real warriors step out. He didn't beat cancer himself. He gave the body the chance to win. The people who change the world usually just think one step deeper. If this story made you see things differently, hit like, subscribe, and save it. See you in the next story.